This video is brought to you by Harold Sack, who gave me a massive 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon. Zurgo Thunder's Decree versus Miss Bumbleflower, Janara, and Kuja. Easily refill our hand with a Wheel of Fortune after getting some ramp into place, so a definite keep. Turn 1 Sol Ring from Janara, but no coloured mana yet. There's some though with Arcane Signet. He mulliganed down to 5, so he's down to 3 cards already. Had it in my head that this was a Tap Surveil land. Forgot the name of the Rakdos Tap Surveil land apparently, so should have gone for a turn 1 Arid Mesa into that, but have decided not to apparently. Wall of Blossoms will cantrip, Black Mage's Rod, an excellent combo piece for black decks. The Bant player just plays a bounce land and passes, and it's an Arcane Signet for Miss Bumbleflower as well. Noteworthy that in this slower paced early game we are playing a bracket 2 game here, so that will explain that one. An Elegant Parlour, I was going to go for a Surveil land here anyway, because we can get the Summoning Sickness away from our commander this turn. And Liliana Dreadhorde General, I mean, we're going to go Wheel of Fortune soon anyway, but we'll get down the Gornog first, which will give us time to go for Liliana. I think we keep that. Electrostatic Infantry gets plus counters and has trample. 2-1 Wizard turns into the right. Knight of the White Orchid, while our opponent is down on lands, is going to ramp. Miss Bumbleflower into play for the first time. If we're going to get down the Gornog next turn, then this triggers on individual players. So if we want to maximise the number of cowards that we make, we'll have to spread the attacks around here. So let's get out Gornog, and then we'll go straight through for attacks, and take our commander down the middle, Gornog to the right. And that means that we get 2 Gornog triggers, so Miss Bumbleflower is a coward and can't block our warriors. The Knight of the White Orchid is a useful 2-2 first strike, that can't block either. And we get the warrior tokens, so both of those can go down the middle, because they'll only have the Wall of Blossoms to block with. And we've got the buff here, a 4-4 commander, 4-4 legend, and the tokens are 3-1s. Obviously blocking with the Wall of Blossoms like I said, but we will keep our tokens. So let's go and grab the last Surveil land, I think. And Herald of Dracoma is Vigilance, I think that's good, we keep that on top. Might be worth going for Liliana minus next turn. Kuja into play for the first time, and is going to make a Black Mage at the end of the turn. Decides not to swing in at us with anything. So this transforms straight away, Trance Kuja. So if a wizard they control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it's double the damage. If there's any spot removal from our opponents, as frightening as they might have found that previous turn, I think they should be dealing with this. Although we've got some potential shocks to deal with now. So equips that onto the Knight of the White Orchid. I'm glad that I made this a coward when I did, because this is now a 4-4 first strike, but swings back in at us. We'll draw a card with that, and shocks one of our tokens, as opposed to something like this, or this. This is the difference between players who are reactionary and players who have some foresight. This guy just wanted to get revenge on us for attacking him, and he's not actually looking at the board and what has actually become a threat since we attacked him. Kuja is well and truly set up now to start dealing some crazy damage, and by the time he's dealt a bunch of damage, is it going to be too late to actually do something about his board? You have to always be analysing the board and not just go with your emotions. Anyway, Janara into play with a plus counter on itself, a Cultivate from Miss Bumbleflower, and we are allowed to draw a card. So puts a plus counter on his own stuff, and we draw into that Herald Dramoka. So I think the sooner we can get down Liliana, the better. But we want to make a bunch of mana with a lot of warriors in place, so 3 Tree City first, I think. And if we go for the Herald of Dramoka first, we'll be able to make 6 mana, I think, to the 3 Tree City. So that should be fine to do this now. I want to swing into the left and make Kuja a coward. He can block here and here on our Zurgo, but that won't be enough power. Gornog can go down the middle, and a token might as well go to the right. So a coward Kuja. Miss Bumbleflower is a double coward, and Janara can't block either. And then the 2 tokens can go down the middle because of that Wall of Blossoms again. Simply doing that to keep as many creatures in play as possible. But the tokens are now 5/1 Vigilance, more showing off how good Gornog is here than, well, I suppose our commander's actually getting the tokens into play. These 2 legends together doing a hell of a lot of work. So the Wall of Blossoms blocks and it will die. No blocks made by the Black Mage. So we do have 2, 4 and 6 warriors, which means this will make 6 mana. And we can go for a Talisman first. Make 6 black mana into a Liliana Dreadhorde General. And let's go for the -4 on that. Edict 2 creatures. We will get rid of our tokens, and that will draw us a couple of cards, as well as clear out the board a little bit. Got rid of the 2 means of pinging, which is good. This can be equipped with the staff though, so we can still have damage dealt to us, but Liliana going to draw us cards. This does not have flying, even though it looks like it does. Just cleared a couple more lands off the top, so it might be time for a Wheel of Fortune regardless, depending on what we draw next turn. Does decide to equip the Black Mage's Rod onto this thing, as we assumed he would. So again, I'm assuming that he's got a non-creature spell to cast into that. And that's Thrill of Possibility. Discard a card, draw 2. And that's a plus counter onto the infantry, as well as 2 damage onto all of us. So this is now a 3/3 with Trample, which means we can still block it with our commander. He discarded a swamp into the Thrill. If he wants to swing in at Liliana, I will protect it with our creatures here. Swinging into our creatures and then potentially dying is going to give us card draw as well, so it's tricky, but does decide to swing in with Kuja. Takes in the 3/3 trample at us as well. Anyway, it's 6 damage onto us. I think we just throw a token in the way of Kuja to resist commander damage. And we go down to 26, draw a card to Lily. And it will be handy to get that out next turn so that we can give our tokens indestructible. At least save a little bit of our board. Assuming someone goes for a Wrath. Janara being replayed, so we can make it a coward again. Obviously when it changes zones, the cowardice is knocked off, although protection from red will keep us from targeting because the ability is on Gornog, so that makes things more tricky with regards to turning sideways. Plus counter on Janara and another one. So now it is 1 attack from this and another one with double strike, and someone's going down, which is likely us. So I think we have to dedicate ourselves into trying to draw spot removal for that. Managorger Hydra is another scary one. I'm glad we've got Vigilance, but the blockers aren't exactly incredible that we're holding back. A Quain is going to keep cards in everyone's hand. So we managed to keep our board intact for another turn. There's a Mardu Woe Reaper, which is going to be worth getting down because it's only 1 mana, which means 3 Tree City kind of pays for it. Tick up on Liliana straight away before we lose priority, although our opponents are tapped out pretty much. I don't think it's of any relevance. Good habit to get into though. Then Mardu Woe Reaper first, so that we can start exiling graveyards and gaining bits of life. Go after the creatures to gain life. I want to see the back of Thrill of Possibility just because it's a spell slinger list as well. Anox Strike Leader. While we cast spells, we are buffing up the Managorger Hydra. Get rid of... It's actually only creature spells that we can exile with this. I thought it was any card. So we get rid of the only creatures in graveyards. Then let's swing in for some damage. It can be our commander and the Herald to the left. And this can go to the right. We can't make this a coward thanks to the protection from red, like I said before. So multiple coward triggers onto the stack. Kuja is already a coward. We'll make the electrostatic infantry one as well, even though they're going to be turning that sideways. Make it so that Managorger Hydra can't block. And then Anox Strike Leader is making a goblin for us because we attack with our commander. The Zurgo will make some tokens as well, and those can go into the left, seeing as how the Black Mage is shields down. I think it's going to be a 3v1, and we're not going to do all that well with that. We actually get 3 goblins, each one attacks one of our opponents. That does mean that we're going to see some card draw here, because there will be blocks made and likely take down creatures in the process. The tokens have entered as 4/1s. The non-token warriors each have 5 power. And yep, decides to block a token here. And shunt blocks with Quain, so throwing Quain away is fine. We draw in 2 redoubled Stormsinger, which is really tempting to wait to play until next turn, but I think we just have to go Wheel of Fortune here. So I'll just make a bunch of red mana. That is 7 red mana off the 3-tree city. I suppose we could get this down first because we're after spot removal anyway. I'll just hope that I don't regret playing this. The problem is we're kind of playing into Janara's hand because he's got a bunch of mana, but whatever, we don't have anything going on either. Hoping for a Swords or a Path to Exile, something like that. But unfortunately, see no such thing. Got Infantry Shield, a Bone Cairn Butcher, Combat Celebrant, probably worth getting down now, seeing as how we're doing nothing else. And you can really see what the deck is aiming to do here, but we are weak against board wipes. We've got multiple creatures that we can get rid of here. Quain, Coiling Oracle, Colonian Hydra, Mr. Foxglove, forgot all about this commander. This one's awesome. Might play this one soon. I think we'll get rid of the Colonian Hydra. We just await a board wipe now and sacrificing this to keep our tokens in play. Signing Blood is going to further buff this, make it a big trampler, as well as pinging us all for 2. We're actually all mostly at the same life total roughly. Vault of the Archangel might change that next turn if we can actually land a hit with that. We don't have any flyers at the moment, so Liliana could eat some damage off the Janara. Okay, Fire Magic, 2 damage to each creature. So here's where the Anok comes into play. Yeah, they've gone for Fire on this. So sacrifice in order to keep our tokens. That will draw us a card with Lily and draws us into Kargan, which is more Cowards and Warriors matters. But again, 2 damage onto all of us with the Black Mage Rod. And that's the first Wrath we've seen, so not as bad as it could have been, but at least we draw 3 cards. This thing is now a 5/5 trample. We do have some indestructible tokens, only one of which I can block with though. So again, the Trance Kuja swings in at us, and Electrostatic Infantry is going to go for 10 damage onto our commander. Don't think there's anything we can do about that. We'll just use our Indestructible to block the damage from Kuja, and down goes Liliana after drawing us a decent number of cards and controlling the board for a little bit. There's a reason that this is my favourite Planeswalker. Managing to keep our life total at 27 though. Don't imagine that'll last for long with Janara coming in towards us next turn. Up the Beanstalk, and we'll have something like a 10-10, a 15-15 Managorger Hydra turning in towards us next turn. Up the Beanstalk, cantrips upon entry for some reason. Then Sigarda, Host of Herons. Just as soon as Liliana goes down, we'll draw a card to up the Beanstalk with that. And a Spelunking is going to make the lands come in untapped. Janara swings at us for 7 damage currently. And that will be a shock from the Sword of Fire and Ice, goes straight onto one of our tokens. The Managorger Hydra currently a 12/12. So I don't think we're longed for this world. See how much we can do next turn. If we can make a bunch of warriors with Oketra's Monument, we might be able to still activate the Vault of the Archangel. Might just be worth going Infantry Shield while we're getting the buffs on our stuff off the back of Gornog. Miss Bumbleflower being played into the Hydra. So the Hydra, a 13/13, and we know where it's attacking. Okay, amazingly, it's not attacking at all. It can't block us, so, well, fine with me. I want to put money on that. Priority being held up by the other BAMP player. Might be able to do something to us. I want to drop the Vault of the Archangel before I misclick. And then let's see about... I haven't really planned out the turn and I'm not going to bother. Just Oketra's Monument allows us into a couple of single mana warriors. And that might be relevant with the 3-tree city. That lands, so we play a 1 mana Mindblade Render. Oh, actually, this is only for white creature spells, not warrior creatures. Okay, well, maybe wasted some mana there. So allow me to go for the Infantry Shield instead. So what I should have done there is gone for the Infantry Shield straight away. I thought I was going to make a decent number of warrior tokens here, but apparently not. I definitely want to be activating the Vault of the Archangel this turn. So maybe just go for the Talisman instead and see all the token generation into Vault of the Archangel. Unfortunately, we've lost vigilance on our stuff now, and we kind of have to just turn in sideways. I don't suppose we need to attack him with the goblins, they're not warriors. But yeah, definitely Oketra's Monument, not as good as I thought it was. Still worth having in here, I think. But I was hoping we were going to see a lot of tokens from that into the redoubled Stormsinger. So let's go through to combat now. And it's a 3v1 at the moment, unfortunately, so I don't really see which player we should be trying to take out first. How many cowards? We've got 1, 2 and 3 cowards. If we take out this guy, then that's fewer cowards, so I'm just going to go in at the Bant player. And I'll swing in at Miss Bumbleflower with a token so that we can make her a coward, and that will up the buffs. Redoubled goes on the stack first so that it can see tokens generated. Miss Bumbleflower is a coward with Gornog, and I wasn't allowed to select Sagada for some reason. Oh, it has hexproof, that's why. We're about to give Death Touch to everything anyway. The 2 tokens enter as 5/1s as well, and they are gonna go down the middle as well, as do the other 2 that come off the Stormsinger. So now let's go Vault of the Archangel, and there's no need to go for the mana with this. We get Death Touch and Lifelink on all of our stuff, and they should probably be going after the Gornog on our attack. We get Death Touch and Lifelink on all of our stuff, and now the Bant player has some kind of answer for us. That is an Errant and Giada, so just using that as a chump blocker seemingly. We've at the very least got a lot of damage that is coming through here. Lifelink damage goes after our commander instead of the Gornog. Gornog is blocked by the 2/3, so that will stay in play. But they're losing Sagada here, which is good. I think they go down regardless. They've got 20 damage on tokens alone, so hopefully they don't scoop in response to blocks, because I want to deal the damage and gain the life. Okay, we jump up to 60 and lose our commander. That player goes down to -4. Our commander goes into the command zone, and in all this we haven't drawn into any haste, unfortunately, but got to take 1 player out with our aggro list, amazingly. And this means that we can hopefully tank a hit from the Mana Gorger Hydra. Now that our commander's gone down, we actually do have to sacrifice the tokens we made this turn. Unfortunately, Liliana isn't in play to see that anymore. Still a full grip for Kuja, but has to knock us down from 60 life at this point. A big score is going to make some mana, as well as draw some cards. Zurgo and Realm. Hopefully we won't see them do anything, because looking to take this guy out next turn. A Village Rites, he just sacrifices that straight away in order to draw and deal more damage. This thing getting up towards 20 power. Again, decide not to swing in. We can't be blocked by their stuff, but are they worried about... I mean, this is a trampler, so I think I would have just been trying to pile in damage onto myself with Wizards versus Warriors. I think you kind of have to go in towards us there. Tenuous Truce being played for Bumbleflower and tying the 2 opponents together. Miss Bumbleflower pointing the card draw over there as well. So between these 2, I think if we can get rid of any opponent, it has to be the Hydra player, seeing as how Kuja is playing it pretty coy. And finally decides to swing in with this Mana Gorger Hydra. I think that's the first time. Might as well just tank the damage here. Ideally he'd get down another creature for us to turn into a coward here, but is deciding against it. Okay, Caretaker's Talent. We've got a decent number of cards in hand already. This land we have to activate before we attack, because it triggers on attacks. I don't think we're doing that. Maybe get down our commander again for 4 mana with the discount. And then this will be 5. That means that we won't be able to activate 3 Tree City, but I definitely want down the infantry shield, I think, and we'll equip that onto the Gornog. Then if we were to go for a 2-drop, that would make a couple more warriors, leave us with 4 mana and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 warriors. I'm just trying to maximise 3 Tree City, but it's kind of a bit clunky. We can just tap out into our commander, I think. I'll go for the Mindblade Render. And Oketra's Monument, it doesn't discount our non-white creatures, but it does trigger on any creature that we cast. That's the weird thing about it. That's what I've misremembered. Don't think this is of any relevance whilst our opponents can't block anyway. Not really bothered about Death Touch if they can't block. And it only works on attacking tokens, unfortunately. So let's go for our commander. And I don't think we can take out the Bant player even if I account for the fact that he might have some interaction. I'm just counting myself lucky that we've made it this far, to be honest. Aggro doesn't tend to work all that well in commander. But we're starting to make vigilance tokens at least after getting down that Oketra's monument, just missing the haste unfortunately. So I'm going to swing everything into the right, pull back the goblin and the zombie, and we will get triggers. We go Storm Singer on the stack first so that it can see the mobilise trigger. Then the Gornog mobilise trigger goes on the stack. Although I don't think it makes a difference here because there's already cowards all over the place. But again, it's a good habit to get into because the mobilise with Gornog wants to see multiple cowards and get the buffs on everyone. Okay, so we get a bunch of warriors into play. We'll just have all of those attack here. Gornog's power is currently 6, so we get 6 warriors, and all of those have the buff, so they are 5/1s. Then the Storm Singer has just seen those tokens enter, so I'm going to take those into the left and hope that we keep our Gornog in play, because that is the only thing buffing up our army enough to actually do something this game. We actually got some tapped vigilance tokens as well, so I'm hoping that all of that is enough. But there's always Ether Eyes and stuff like that to worry about against blue players. I'm grateful for the Battle Cruiser style game that we've had this game though. It's nice to not be playing against constant spot removal and 12 board wipes. It's exactly why I built this as a bracket 2 list. And that is an Illusionist's Gambit. Only during the Declares Blockers step, remove all attacking creatures from combat and untap them after this main phase. After this phase, there's an additional combat. Each of those creatures attacks that combat and can't attack you. So, looks as though the Black Mage player is going down. Can he buff up his creatures enough to take us out is the question. Okay, so let's just swing everything into the left then. We do have to do this. Our opponents get another turn against us. May well be that our opponents can gang up on us enough to take us out next turn, especially with this thing. But with our life total being so desperate now, throwing this in the way of any attackers is going to be a priority, I think, because we do have to lose life to that. Don't have to sacrifice the tokens that we made with our creatures, thanks to getting down the Zurgo previously. Infernal Grasp onto our commander, which means it's a ping from the rod and another plus counter on both of the creatures. Light of Judgment then, it's 6 damage to a target creature and destroy an equipment attached to it. I mean, you definitely... I don't know why they're ignoring Gornog, but it's dodged multiple pieces of spot removal. You want rid of Gornog and this, so Light of Judgment, I mean, we want Mindblade Render to die at this point, so okay, would have been nice to use that 3 toughness to block, but yeah, I suppose it might be the difference between us losing and getting another turn here. Because this is now a 27-27, so that's probably enough to take us out, because we're at 35. Illusionist Gambit winning the day here. 9/9 Trample swings at us. And Kuja as well, we just chump block with a warrior token. Yeah, even if I block a damage here, well, from either of the tramplers, we're on exactly 35, and he's going to cast more spells into this to definitely get rid of us, so he's got us. Oh, and I forgot, this is actually double damage, isn't it? So, double has us. And I can't remember if I pointed it out or not yet, but we've actually switched off the double damage from Kuja, thanks to turning these things into cowards. It does remove their other tribal types, so it's not a wizard anymore, these are just cowards, which is a pretty cool interaction. I suppose what I could have done here, if I was worried about my opponents surviving the turn with a fog or something like that, I think I could have, instead of playing out the Zurgo, afforded to tap down 3-tree City into a bunch of white mana, held up a black, and gone for the Vault of the Archangel again. Okay, Swords to Plowshares finally going on to the Gornog. I mean, gaining us life there is a bit silly. All they have to do is turn in sideways, they're just wasting their swords there. So we go up to 28, but the Mana Gorger Hydra is a 29. And so let's go down to 28 exactly here. And the Managorger Hydra has been given flying by the commander, I assume, so can't even block. Yeah, not sure what the Swords to Plowshares was about. But there's Psychosis Crawler in order to start pinging the Black Mage player, who does have a full grip, so it'd be interesting to see if he wishes he held on to that Swords. Maybe he forgot that this has Trample for some reason. Even though our creatures have gone down, these are still cowards, which is noteworthy. So still double damage is switched off. A Pain for All onto the big Trampler. So when it enters, enchanted creature deals damage equal to power to any other target. And if that was double damage, then this guy would be in trouble. He may still be in trouble. I would definitely be going for 9 damage straight onto my opponent's face here. He instead decides to play it cool and goes for the Psychosis Crawler instead. I mean, I suppose it makes it easier for him to swing into the Bumbleflower. If he can remove Bumbleflower, then he just goes wide here, surely. Gutter Snipe, going to help deal some more damage. Draws a card by cracking Cryptic Caves. Be amazed if he doesn't have another non-creature spell he could have cast. Alright, so just turns in with a 9/9. Kuja and Miss Bumbleflower going the way of each other, so this guy gets knocked down to 5. And it looks as though Managorger Hydra is going to win the day. So Managorger swinging in for the victory. And there we go, down to -22. I'm happy with how the game went for us there. Probably shouldn't have held on to some of those creatures for anywhere near as long as we did. But it made a cool game out of it, and it made it so that I could actually show you the deck list, which is all I ever really want to do. If you enjoyed this visit to Warrior Tribal, then be sure to leave it a like, and please consider donating on Patreon. If just a very small percentage of you only donate $1 a month, then that will make a massive difference to me. So please consider it. A huge thank you to those of you who do already, and I will see you all in the next one, I hope. I'm TribalKai. Thank you for watching.